Yet another four-wheeler asshat to show you. Also picking up in Glenrock with a lignite, going through the Wyoming port of entry in Lusk, coolant updates on the water pump issue, Rusty, and more on this episode of
The Clutch Trucker Channel.
Clutch Trucker, filmed before a live and furry studio audience. Yep, that's Rusty, the world-famous meatball dog. Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker Channel. Alright, here it is, Friday, the 21st of July, in Glenrock, Wyoming. I'm just going down the little county road here, or state road, whatever it is, over to the Black Hills Lignite, where I pick up my load of lignite that goes to Rothschild, Wisconsin. So I realized I haven't ever shown getting to this place. I've shown being there before, but thought you might like to see where it is I pick up. Glenrock's a tiny little town, and this is just kind of northeast of it. We turn down this little road here, and then it turns into a dirt road, and we get up to the plant. Bump. You always love it when they put those signs up on the road.
Left onto the unpaved road.
Let's say bump, and usually the bump is never as bad as like the rest of the road. Gotta love it. Alright, we turn right here, and they nicely put up a sign because it's kind of not too obvious that yes, Black Hills Lignite is right down this road. Can't find them, grant them. There's the sign.
1.5 miles. Arrive at Black Hills Lignite, Glenrock, Wyoming, on the left.
Actually, it's on the right, Garmin, and it's not 1.5 miles down the road. It's only about 3/4 of a mile, but gets you close enough. Well, they've got railroad ties out there. Looks like they're going to redo the railroad ties for the tracks right along there. Last time I came here, they were grading the dirt road up here, and it was dry that day, and so it was just kicking up all kinds of dust. Doesn't look like it's going to be too bad today. Oh, you can see the yellow train up there. I'll zoom in. That they use to replace the railroad ties. They do it with the tracks still down. It's really kind of an interesting process how they do all that. They're able to slide them in and slide them back out. It's kind of cool. But anyway, yep, coming up here to the Black Hills Lignite. I think it's interesting it's called Black Hills Lignite when we're not in the Black Hills. We're in Glenrock, Wyoming. But anyway. So lots of, looks like little pickups and stuff up there. It rained a lot yesterday again. More about that. I tried to fix a couple leaks on the trailer, my wife and I, and had to do that in between thunderstorms in Cheyenne yesterday. Herzog, that's the company that replaces the rails and or the railroad ties. So, alright, this is the little place that I've been going to a lot. I don't know what this is now, my 8th, 9th time doing this load, something like that. Oh look, you can see all the railroad ties in these cars here. Those are the new ones they're obviously going to use. Very interesting. We actually go straight ahead to get loaded, but first, you can see that sign. All drivers must check in at scale. We go up this way, and we go on the tiny little wood scale that was probably built about 1,000 years ago. And you got to get just the right angle to get onto it right here. I found if I curve at about right this point and aim for it, trying to get lined up just right, most of the truck and trailer can get on it. You can see how small it is. Alright, got to stop before the scale and either call or the guys will come out and give them a pickup number. There's one of their bulk trucks that brings in a lignite. See, it says Black Hills Lignite, manufacturers of high quality Wyoming lignite. There's the bulk tanker they use to bring that out here. And then they bag it up and I pick it up. Alright, we're coming into Lusk, Wyoming, here on Highway 18. There was a lot of construction back there. Did catch an ass wagon, passed me in the no passing zone. He tried to do it across the damn bridge right after we get off of I-25. What a jerk. All just to get ahead of me so he could wait in line on the one-lane road during the construction. Frickin' people. I say it all the time. I hate people. My God. Anyway, alright, just coming into Lusk where I know I'm going to have to stop at the... They call them ports of entry in Wyoming, even though it's a way station. And it's kind of silly that I have to go through a port of entry when I'm already in the state. I've already entered the state. I've been in the state for a couple days. But anyway, this one's always open. They always roll me across the scale, so I thought, alright, well, let's take the opportunity to show this. Little tiny one up here. The first time I went through it, when I did the first one of these lignite loads, I went in the wrong way. And yep, the sign says open. You can see it's this little tiny building up here on the left, and I came in from this side thinking it's the way I should go. But anyway, yeah, you go past it and you turn in this street and turn again. And like I say, I'm sure they're gonna roll me across the scale. They always do. Luckily at the mine they do have that scale that I showed you. I pulled
After
up
the
at-
traffic light.
Yeah, well, Siri, we gotta, or not Siri, Garmin, we gotta go here first. So. Alright, coming up to the scale, and it's yellow, so it says way next to Axel Park, bringing papers. As soon as I pull the steers on, it'll turn red, I'm sure, and it did. Alright. 11,840 it shows. Now we weigh the drives. Alright. 33,780. Alright, now we weigh the trailer. You can be up to 36,000 on your tandems, drives, or trailer in Wyoming. Alright, I can't see the thing. Looks like it says 39 something, so. And we got the green light, so we just get a leave. Alright, so there you go. That's easy enough. Out of Lusk, now we're heading north here on Highway 18. We take that across. Right now it's Highway 18 and 85 actually. We take that across into South Dakota. We'll go through Hot Springs, and I'll probably stop there at the TA Express, go to the bathroom, maybe make a sandwich for lunch or something. And I'm going to double check my coolant. And I've got that whole story coming up about whether or not I got that whole thing repaired. My last video was, I think, Sunday night. Before I got that repaired, well, I was going to try to get it repaired in Hudson at the TA, Wisconsin. But, yeah, I got more on that. So, for now, it looks like maybe things are okay. But I have a different issue. Got to get my APU water pump. It has its own water pump. Replaced, and I'm going to have to do that in Wisconsin on Monday. Then I'll pick up the serial load again on Tuesday in Northfield, Minnesota, run that back to Cheyenne for Wednesday, just like I did this past week, and then I've got another lignite load on Friday again, just like I'm doing right now, going back to Wisconsin. Keep them busy. Alright, now first to show you this ass wagon too. Now, after getting loaded and everything, I'm getting off I-25 going southbound. Well, actually, yeah, it's southbound technically. At that point, we're really going eastbound. In Wyoming at Orange Junction, because I'm about to go over to Lusk to head up a little bit and then go over to South Dakota, yada, yada, yada. And I know there's a big construction. They're repaving a whole like 20 miles of Highway 18 there. But I get to the top of the ramp, turning left. There's an SUV behind me. I make the left turn over the bridge. It's a double yellow line. He's already coming out trying to get around me because I'm a big truck and I'm going too slow. And then he finally comes back because there's traffic coming the other way. I'm like, what an ass wagon. Then we get just a little bit further, right past the rest area. Still a double yellow line. Passes me anyway. What a jerk. This car that turned behind me is going to try to cross on a double lane, double yellow across the bridge. Of course, I've got a heavy load and I'm accelerating too slowly. Now it's still a double yellow, and they're illegally. Just barely made it before they had a hit on. What a moron. And little did he know, we've got two one-lane road sections coming up where you're going to have to stop for the flagger and wait for the pilot car anyway. So all of his haste and trying to be a real giant asshole and didn't help him out at all. Still got stuck up there behind all the other traffic, so that was about the only thing that made me feel a little bit better. After I went through the way station, went through Lusk, they apparently stopped in Lusk too, because I'm north of Lusk, comes flying by me again, about 90 miles an hour. The only reason you're up in this area is you're on vacation or you're working, like me. So you gotta get to the campsite that quick, or the hotel? You jerk. Alright, and I know it's been like 5 days since my last video. I did that Sunday night where I said I was going to go in and try to get the coolant issue fixed. After I got unloaded in Rothschild, I went over to Hudson to the TA and checked in. Of course, then it took them 6 hours to get me in. Then they could not get the lower, because I've still got the parts right here. I'll throw them on the floor. How about that? This lower one right here that goes into the water pump itself, they couldn't get it off. Because apparently they said, yeah, it looks like when he put that on, they cross-threaded it. Which means there's a chance they've killed the threads on the inside of the water pump itself, which means that whole thing might need to be replaced. So this upper angled one, they had taken that off of this part, off of the hard line going from the coolant reservoir. But then they couldn't get the other one off, and now they were closing at like 11 p.m. Well, here it is, like 10:30. So they had to just put it back together because I had to pick up a load the next morning. So they did that. I think they did a better job putting it back together than the guy initially who did the initial replacement of the water pump. Then I get parked, and I go up to bed. I try to start my APU. It runs for about 2 minutes and then shuts off. I start it again, runs for about 20 seconds, and then shuts off. I'm like, okay, I don't have time to deal with this. Maybe he closed the valves leading to the coolant lines to the APU. I'll deal with that in the morning. It's not too hot here. Get up the next morning, and there's a giant pool of coolant below my APU, auxiliary power unit. So I can run, I don't have to run the main engine all night. That's the whole purpose of that, and I can get air conditioning and heat inside the cab here, especially upstairs where it gets hot. So I put in, what coolant I had left, because they gave me 2 free gallons. Put that in, and of course it drained out, and I realized I hadn't closed the valves. I hadn't checked that. Closed those, still had to buy 5 more gallons worth, 3 of which I used at the time, and I took the other 2 with me. But now I know I've got an APU coolant leak. So I'm assuming it's the coolant lines going from where they split off at the main engine, and luckily there are valves to shut going back to the APU. So I can close that off, I just can't use the APU at all. So picked up my load Tuesday, delivered in Walmart on Wednesday. It's a real tight run. Wednesday night went to Sapp Brothers in Cheyenne and said, look, I think the coolant lines need to be replaced. Can you get me in and look at that? They did. I said, let's start at the APU just in case there's some fitting or something you guys don't have. He opened that up, and he then opened up the valve for the coolant lines, and it's the water pump on the APU is just pissing out the coolant. Really? So now apparently my water pump on my APU is dead. And now I've got to get that replaced. Oh, fun. Oh, fun. Closed the valves back up and went home. And then left this morning, Friday morning, to go pick up the load of lignite again, which is where we started the video. about the only part of good news is when I got to the Walmart distribution center, I did check under the hood, and the coolant had maybe moved a hair, but not much at all. And that was 350 miles since I had topped it off in Alden, Nebraska at the TA there when I fueled up. So I thought, okay, well maybe when they put everything back together in Hudson, they fixed whatever problem there was, even though they say that bottom piece is cross-threaded. Well, no, now that I'm parked here in Vivian, South Dakota today, which is the 21st, Friday, I checked once I got here again, and the coolant had gone down, again, just a tiny little bit, and I looked on the other side of the engine of the water pump, and there are new pink streaks of the coolant. So obviously those fittings are still leaking, which means that job still has to be done. And I've got to get the water pump replaced for the APU, which I've already called ahead. And I'm going to get that done in Plover, Wisconsin, at a carrier place right after I deliver Monday morning. Then I'm probably going to go right back to Hudson to the TA again and say, okay, now I know this all has to be done. I didn't get it done in Cheyenne because, you know, when I hit the distribution center and it wasn't leaking that bad, I thought, okay, maybe that's kind of been fixed. Well, no, it's not. Because with this heavy load and driving hard all day and it's hot, it's damn near 90 degrees here, yeah, it still did piss a little bit out there somewhere around those fittings, so that still has to be fixed. Something else I still got to deal with thanks to that cupcake down in Joplin, Missouri, who did the initial job and did it obviously very poorly. It's not losing as much coolant. So now all I can figure is maybe the water pump on the APU had been going for, you know, a week or so, and that's why I was losing more coolant than I am now, because I'm still just losing a little bit around the whole water pump where it's streaking and blah, blah, blah. Own a truck. It's so much fun. My God. And so if I can go back to Hudson to get them to do it Monday night, maybe they can. And they've already called Joplin. They said, look, this guy screwed up. So that would all be under warranty for that. And I'm trying to not have to pay for that repair. I'm going to have to pay for the water pump on the APU. But the APU is as old as the truck is now. It's a 2016 truck. So, you know, we're looking at 5, 6, 7 years old. So, yeah, it makes sense that the water pump on the engine on the APU is now gone out. But I'm really getting tired of getting kicked in the teeth with things constantly going wrong. I'd like to have at least a couple, 3 weeks without any issues, but apparently that's just not in the cards for me. So I realized I needed to switch the CT lights to red because I'm still dealing with all this crap. And most of this all thanks to that cupcake, like I keep calling him, in Joplin, Missouri, who did obviously a terrible, terrible job on replacing my water pump. And the water pump going out on the APU, well, things like that are going to happen. And unfortunately, it just picked a rotten time to do it. But now that I've got those valves shut off, and hopefully I can stay cool enough, I'm going to have to leave the big truck engine running all night long, which I really don't like to do. Kills the fuel economy and everything else, and I just hate doing that. But, you know, I got to get some decent sleep. At least I have a little bit of time to deal with over this weekend. But man, you know, trying to be positive. Home. My mother was a bitter, evil, awful person, and when she died, I swore I'm not going to be like that. So I try to constantly be positive and look at the positive things. So like the positive things, okay, I'm not losing as much coolant now. I drove over 550 miles today without having to top it off, and it's still in a good place. I don't have to top it off before I run tomorrow. We now know exactly, thanks to Sap Brothers, and they didn't charge me to look at that, why it was losing all the coolant after being in Hudson. Okay, I'm trying to be positive. And maybe if I can get the water pump on the APU done midday on Monday, and I can get up to Hudson, and maybe they can get me in that night. They've got all the paperwork. They've already talked to Joplin and got all the warranty thing all set up. Maybe they can even get that repaired Monday night, I'm hoping, so I can pick up my serial load on Tuesday that brings me back to Cheyenne. Trying to be positive. I'm trying, baby! Oh, and I almost forgot, as I was leaving the house this morning and get up this morning, got up about 5 a.m. and I go out and start the truck and everything, and it's like 45 degrees and foggy in July. You know, yeah, we don't have the hottest of summers sometimes. We'll still hit the 90s a lot in Cheyenne, but you know, for the middle of July and it's 45 degrees and super foggy, it looked like it was like October. Look at this. All right, here I am driving from my house to the Sapp Brothers, and we're about to go up over the bridge here. Normally, as we're getting to about this point, as we start to go up the bridge, you can see the big Sapp Brothers Tower off to the right side. You can see the whole Sapp Brothers truck stop, and you can barely see the traffic coming the other way as we're getting close to this bridge here. And we're about to go up the bridge. And like I say, normally right now you can see the Sapp Brothers Tower, and you can see the whole truck stop over there as we're coming up the bridge, and yet it's just fog, 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 fog. Well, thanks for tuning in for that one. Yep, still dealing with that cupcake. Thanks to him, how he did that lousy job on my water pump in Joplin, Missouri over a month ago. And we're still having to deal with that. Gotta love it. So, and of course, yeah, had to catch an asshat because it's summertime. And you get a lot of those vacationers out there that, they're just so much more important, aren't they? Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please like and comment. I get your comments as soon as I can. Sometimes takes a few days because I'm a working truck driver and dealing with lots of repair issues and all that. Don't forget to ring that bell for notifications so you know when the new videos come out. There's also Clutch Trucker on Instagram, Clutch Trucker on Twitter, where I put up Rusty stuff. And as always, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. Clutch and Rusty, out. Yes, this sports almanac comes from the 1980s, and it has a dust jacket. And if you're interested in dust, I have this thing from the 1980s, a dust buster. All right, come down here. You know we start down here. There you go. All right, all over that bacon strip, baby. Yeah, we're still loaded up on bacon strips. Look up here. Yeah, we still got 2 bags up there. And I want to thank Dunk. Dunk, he just sent us a bag of this special new honey ham bacon strips. So once we deplete those 2 bags, we'll give the new one a try. Dunk, thanks for sending that. All right, Rusty, here's another one. There you go. Oh, happy dog. And since my APU is not working, I can't run that tonight. I bought this at Menards. Little tower fan. Have it angled to bring in the air from below in the front. Try to shoot it upstairs so when I'm sleeping up there, I won't melt. You all done, Rusty? All right, let's get the happy dog look. Rusty! Hello? Hey, you got it, buddy. Up here. Rusty, hello?